Hey guys, Setting in that TV here. Gonna be going over some springtime lures, and how you can catch my favorite springtime lures is basically what I want to show you. But other than that, we're done out of winter. It's the pre-spawn to spawn stage. It's almost mid-February, and we're in the pre-spawn to spawn stage. So let's hop into the video. And this is all that I do in the springtime. I'm not saying that this is absolutely all I'll do, but mostly what I do in the springtime. And I've been doing pre-spawn for y'all in these other videos, so now I just want to get the spawning stuff videos up there so I can prepare you before the spawn and see if my tips work for you. So anyway, let's hop into it. I'm not gonna go my top 5 or whatever because all these baits catch fish, and I'm not gonna do that. Sorry for that. My brother's riding something out there, but anyway, let's hop into it. I'll have to say, if I had a way to catch a bass, that this would be my favorite. This is my favorite way to catch a bass, and it's called a rattle trap. There's many of them out there. If you go watch Isaac's rattle trap video, he's got all the sizes and all kinds of stuff like that on there. But I'm just gonna show you my favorite color rattle trap and my favorite size, and this is probably one of my favorite rattle traps. And this is what I do in the springtime, basically, with a rattle trap. This is probably my favorite way to catch bass in the springtime, and probably one of the most effective ways. So, it's called the rattle trap. This is a Bill Lewis rattle trap. But it's a chrome blueback Bill Lewis rattle trap. I love these things, man. I like them as much as the red eye shad, or even better. But as you can see, it's very pretty. It's chrome, and it's got that blue back. Anyway, it's a 1/2 ounce. I use 1/2 ounce most of the time. What I'm gonna be doing with this is ripping it through grass, maybe even yo-yoing it. There's just all kind of ways you can catch fish with these things. And you can throw them on channel banks, and like when those fish ain't all the way up on the bank, throw them on those channel banks when the channel hits the bank hard, yo-yo it on there, or just fish it like reeling it and everything. But this is probably one of the most effective ways to catch a bass in the springtime to me, because they're trying to in the pre-spawn stage and spawn stage, they're trying to keep anything off their beds and all that kind of good stuff. So if you can't key in on one bed and you're just throwing it up against the bank, they are going to kill this, because there's some beds that fish have made that you can't even see. So you drag this along it, they're going to kill it. And I love this. They're amazing. And this is so good in this pre-spawn stage. And it's even good in the spawn stage, like I said, on those beds you can't even see. I mean, this is just a great way to catch a bass. And 1/2 ounce is what I use. This is Bill Lewis chrome with blue back. I most of the time use shad colors unless the water gets real muddy, and I'll go to a red. But anyway, this is a great bait. I love it. Probably one of my favorite ways to catch a bass. And by the way, you're going to be ripping this through grass and all kinds of stuff. I either use 65-pound braid, but most of the time I just use 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's what I got on here right now, and that's what I use most of the time. Next we'll have a finesse jig, or just a jig. I like to throw finesse jigs because it's just that smaller profile, and you can catch a lot more numbers on it to me. But this is just a small 1/2 ounce War Eagle finesse jig. It's got the flared up skirt over the head right here, as you can see. This is a great way to catch a bass. It's PB&J color, and I got that blue sapphire chunk in there. It is really awesome. catches a lot of bass. What I'll do with this is pitch it into any brush piles, docks. I'll even throw it on some bedding fish if I see some in the springtime. But like pre-spawn, I'll throw it mostly on channel banks or main river banks with that have drop-offs on them that are shallow up there, but also have drop-offs. And I'll throw it on there with like some rocks and wood mixture. But all that is great on that main river pre-spawn stuff. And that's when I'll throw this. This is a 1/2 ounce. I usually throw 1/2 ounce or 3/4. I'm a big jig guy as far as the weights go. But that's what I do for this finesse jig. And when the fish are up more shallow on the day when that is sunny, I'll throw it on under docks or on laydowns and stuff. You can catch those good fish doing that. But all in all, a finesse jig catches them anyway, any place, anywhere, all the time. Great bait to use. And I throw that on 20-pound line, 20 or 15-pound line, because when you're flipping into those trees, you don't want to miss a big one. And this is a halo rod, great jig rod with a quantum smoke, high gear ratio. Reel is 7:3 to 1, but yeah, that's a great jig setup. Now we're moving on to another great way to catch bass in the pre-spawning springtime. Just a regular old Texas rig. You can flip this into brush piles, grass, main river on some rocks. I mean, you can do anything with this. And what I do most of the time is this is for more like a largemouth bass way to catch them. What I got rigged up right now, is a flipping hook. Actual flipping hook made for flipping. As you can see, that hook right here, that is a flipping hook with a 3/8 ounce bullet weight tungsten and a bobber stopper right there, which keeps from the bait sliding up and down. Press this down and it's not going nowhere. So this is a great way to pitch into brush piles, grass. I mean, you can do anything with this rig right here. You can even go out main river, throw it on a bank with rocks and wood and catch fish out on the main river. So I mean, this is a great way to catch them. I throw it on this right here is for when I'm flipping into nice brush piles and stuff and docks and weeds. This is on a heavy rod. I usually fish this on a medium heavy, but this is more of my flipping rig for largemouth. And it's a Duck Ghost heavy rod, 7.3 heavy with a Lew's speed spool 7.5 to 1 gear ratio, high gear ratio reel with 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's my flipping setup most of the time, and that's what I got this rigged up for. That is a great springtime tactic, and even pre-spawn when the sun gets up and the fish are moving up shallow. But this is a great way. I usually rig it up with a Strike King beaver, a Strike King rodent is what they're called. Black and blue sapphire on one side and black on the other. Great color. But that's what I do most of the time with that. If the fish are not wanting the jig, I'll pick up that. That's a more finesse approach. But next would have to be a spinnerbait. Spinnerbait is just a great all-around bait. You can catch fish all times of the year with a spinnerbait. And I use War Eagle spinnerbaits. Great spinnerbaits. I use 1/2 ounce War Eagle, white and silver, just for imitating a shad. I use 2 willow leaves. Unless the water is muddy, then I'll use a Colorado blade. But that's what I use mostly for my spinnerbaits. You can throw this in grass, laydowns, banks with drop-off, slow rolling it in the pre-spawn. I mean, you can do anything with this right here. And one of my favorite baits right here, spinnerbait, War Eagle spinnerbait. I usually throw it on 15-pound line on my Skeet Reese spinnerbait and worm rod with a Lew's. I got this on a slower gear ratio, 6.4 to 1, great for spinnerbait, and 15-pound fluorocarbon. That's what I do for my spinnerbaits. But That's a great all-around bait. I'm sorry in the background you're hearing my brother riding that thing of his little dirt bike, but that's how it goes. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, next I'll have to go with square bill crankbaits. If they're not biting the spinner bait and some laydowns and stuff, then I'll pick up these things. These are bad boys, and these catch big fish and fish all around. I mean, this is one of the most versatile baits you can ever fish, and this is a great springtime and pre-spawn tactic. Right here is my favorite square bill that I've got in my tackle box. I got a bunch of square bill crankbaits. Like, I've got a single tackle box for square bills because I got so many of them. But this right here is a Rick Clun square bill, great bait. It's in a shad pattern. Got great hooks. It came with good hooks on it. And this one has no rattles. You can get crankbaits with rattles, but I don't really see the purpose of them. I'd rather throw a rattle trap if you want something with rattles. But this right here can go through treetops a lot better than your rattle traps. That's when I'd pick this up, like treetops. I wouldn't fish this in grass. If I'd fish it over the grass. Just wind it along the tops of the grass. And if it gets hung, jerk it out. That's when you get your strikes when you're fishing them in grass most of the time. Rocks, definitely like riprap, is a great way to catch bass on these things. But other than that, great way to catch bass. Y'all need to check out some square bill crankbaits. They do really good. But great way to catch some bass in the pre-spawn and spring. If I'm fishing these things in the pre-spawn, I'll slow roll them on rocks mostly, and in the springtime you can just fish them everywhere and catch fish. But there's different sizes. This one is like, this ain't a Strike King, but I'll relate it to the Strike Kings. This is like the size of a Strike King 1.5, which is right here. This is a Strike King 1.5. That is the same exact size as you can see there. This is a Strike King right here on the left. This is a Rick Clun, which is my favorite, on the right. They're both similar, but I think the Rick Clun has better action. But the Strike King 1.5s are great square bills. I got a bunch of them and they work and do good. And then you've got your Strike King 2.5s, and these are your bigger square bills. Like this. This is a lot bigger square bills. They go a little bit deeper. This is the same color as this one, which is my Rick Clun. Same color, just a lot of different size there, as you can see. Bigger. If you got bigger shad in a lake, you're going to want to throw your 2.5s. If not, you're going to want to throw your Rick Clun, which is the size of a 1.5 in Strike King. And I throw shad patterns unless the water is murky. Then I'll pick up a chartreuse and black Strike King 2.5 or 1.5 crankbait. This is a 2.5, but that's when I throw that in muddy water. And but most of the time I'm throwing shad patterns, and if water gets muddy, I'll either throw that chartreuse or a red. But thanks, guys, for watching. Going fishing at Lake Friday. Probably will get you some footage if we catch some. So thanks for watching Setting Net and TV. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll be getting you more videos.